Yeah, I remember when I made the video about this MacBook Pro being so great and amazing, and I hope we can keep it for a long time. Well, not anymore, baby. It is broken. It bit the bullet. It has freezing issues. I can't get an operating system installed. It is, in other words, a piece of shit. And of course, it died in the time span I needed it really the most. I needed a laptop as soon as possible. Now, I actually did all my work on this in the meantime, believe it or not. This is my Aspire 1 powered by an Intel Atom processor. And yeah, sure, it wasn't fast, but you could do it. I mean, you had to wait, you had to be patient. Hell, I did even an assignment. I started on this and I had an assignment with 400 lines of code or something like that, 400 lines. Yeah, it stuttered, and yeah, but you could do it. It's you just had to be patient, I guess, and yeah, but it's definitely not the way to go. But to all the naysayers who say you need a fast laptop for everything, haha, yeah. So there is my new laptop, my new MacBook Pro. So you might ask yourself, why this model? Well, first of all, because it was cheap. I saw this online for 90 euros. It was listed as broken, but as you can see, it does actually work. And, you know, I faced this hard task. I really wanted a Mac. I mean, a PC laptop is way better in terms of value, but I wanted a Mac laptop and OS 10, so I had to face this task that is really hard, and that is to get a cheap Mac that you can actually use. I mean, cheap Macs are everywhere, but in order to get them actually usable, you need some tricks. But I got tricks, as you know. So, I'll introduce you to this. This is a MacBook Pro 3,1 2007 model. It rocks a Intel Core 2 Duo at 2.2 gigahertz and incredible 2 gigabytes of RAM. DDR2, of course, none of this new stuff. And it runs the Mavericks operating system. I installed Mavericks because this thing has the slowest ever hard drive I've seen in a laptop. Well, not really, but you get the idea. It's really horribly slow. It drags down the whole system. And I think that was the reason why this guy wanted to get rid of it in the first place, since this thing is just dragging down really, really, really much. But, as I said, I got some tricks. I actually gonna switch out the SSD from this into this. Now, why do I do this? SSDs, they don't grow on trees, and they cost a fair amount of money. They got cheaper, I know, but it's not like I can go ahead and buy an SSD whenever I want. So I'm gonna switch out the hard drive, make this even slower, and give this a little kick in the ass. Hopefully that changes the performance quite a bit. And these 2 gigs of RAM, not cutting it. I'm gonna upgrade these to 4. I'm really hoping that 4 gigs is fine. It should. Theoretically, it should. I'm even not sure if I will go higher than Mavericks, since this is an old Core 2 Duo, and you know, and not that I actually need any of these new features. I mean, I run 10.13 on this, but when it worked, but not that I really needed the features, and so I can pretty much be fine with Mavericks. Has the kind of old style OS 10, makes it more responsive on old machines. I actually got a friend who has a 28 MacBook Pro, and he hacked on their High Sierra and actually runs very decent, but he also got an SSD, by the way. But I'm gonna stick with Mavericks for now. I just want to give this a little test run, see if I can actually use it, if it's not too old for what I need to do. The stuff I need to do, as I said, even this could do it. Slow, but it could do it. I need to do Microsoft Office and, well, Sea Lion, that's a little heavier program, but it should be okay. You need to do web browsing and run maybe here and there a virtual machine with Linux. And run a ton of text editors. So it's really not that much of a task for a laptop in this day and age, but for one like this, I'm not sure, as I said. I have very little experience with these particular MacBook Pros. I used to have a MacBook Air with a Core 2 Duo, but eventually I sold it since it had only 2 gigabytes of RAM, and that was just not enough. And same here, this hard drive and these 2 gigs of RAM, I think they're the main points why people throw these away, because they're just insufficient. And I think if you can bump these things up, then you might have a decent laptop for your money. Now, another story is the power charger. Well, Apple in their accessories, I tell you that. Oh my god. I paid 90 euros, 89.99 for this shitty power charger. MagSafe 1. Of course, I had a perfectly working MagSafe, but it's MagSafe 2 on this, and this is MagSafe 1, so I had to get a new one. So I paid even the same money for the power adapter as I paid for the whole laptop. That is Apple, guys. That is Apple. I should have just ordered a crappy Chinese one from Amazon and be fine with it, but whatever. Now, these MacBook Pros are very similar to PowerBook G4s, actually. I do have a ton of PowerBook G4s. This is my 15-inch PowerBook G4 that just happened to lay around from a different project. This is a 17-inch MacBook Pro, and if you fold one of these up, you might actually see no difference in the first glance. And that's great, because I like this style of laptops. Yeah, it's not as slim and modern and beautiful as everyone describes the new Macs, but this, you have an optical drive, you have USB, audio in and out, expansion card slot, DVI, LAN, oh my god, 5-wire, 800, 400, not a USB, so you do have plenty of connectivity. You do have here and there sacrifices on such an old machine, of course, like no HDMI or no USB 3, but I can live with that. And for a Mac that I paid 90 euros for, it should be good, so I shouldn't complain. Even as a webcam, PowerBooks don't have that. And yeah, what I will do is take the stuff out of the box, see if the battery works, charge it up, maybe upgrade the RAM in the same, how do you say it? Well, same process, whatever. And tomorrow I will actually be that hardcore, open this thing up and switch the hard drives so I can have better performance. Yeah. So I'm just in the process of ripping out the guts of this Acer and feed him to the evil MacBook Pro that kernel panics here in my face. And I'm not too worried about that, because I cloned the HDD to the SSD and via Super Duper. And I hope it's just because I tried booting from USB, and so it, doesn't like that for some reason. If it kernel panics with the operating system, I really don't care. I'm just gonna reinstall it. I mean, that means more work, of course, but I'm not too worried about that. So I'm gonna get started and actually put the SSD in today, because I'm just lazy and don't want to do university stuff. So let's do that. Little update, I just want to show you how awesome it has actually been in the past upgrading RAM in your Mac. You just unscrew this thing and then there it is. You unscrew this plate and here is your RAM. And with one hand it's kind of tricky to undo these things, but boom, you're done. Just get your new one and put it in. Now, of course, in true Apple fashion, I had to get every possible size of screw in the computer, so these are different size, these are different size, but I'm used to that, so just want to show you that real quick. That is actually very nice. Now, this side might look to some Apple fanboys like torture, gore, slasher, but I'm gonna be honest that on my own computers, I really don't take that much care. Because I know that these things aren't as fragile as they might look to you. And I'm also not going to disconnect this, because I know for a fact that when you do this too often, then It gets loose, and getting this back on all the time is just so much work because if you unscrew all the stuff and then you're inside, and this really looks like the inside of a PowerBook G4. If you if you showed me a 15-inch PowerBook G4, there's a very lot of difference, except the hard drive is here, and in the PowerBooks it's kind of here because the battery is here. So this is kind of switched, but the rest, this also has 2 fans, and here is the optical drive. And I mean, at first glance, it does very look like a PowerBook G4. Now I have to figure out why did they put this, whatever that is. I think that's a sensor for the sleep wake or something. Why do they put this on top of a hard drive? I mean, only Apple can pull something off like that stupid sometimes. But yeah, it really shows you that you are not supposed to get inside of here. But you know me, I don't really care about that. So let's remove that very carefully and put in the SSD. My suspicion is that someone already has been inside here, because these things, they gave up pretty darn easy, and I know that when this has never been touched, these stick on like crazy, and this was just like plopping off. So I mean, that's good for me, but I can feel that the adhesive is not that, you know, much anymore, but it's not a huge deal. So I think someone has been inside of here. Not that I would care, but now I have to get another Torx, because this of course has got to be Torx. So it's a last attempt of Apple pissing you off, not having the right screwdriver before removing the hard drive. But yeah, I have it. Haha. The Fujitsu is out, and check out these funny warning labels. Do not drop, of course, and then what does that mean? Do not push on top, or do not touch it, or this, do not rotate it. I really don't know. Here is the SSD. Nice Samsung SSD. Come on, focus. What? There we go. I'm glad this is a Samsung. I used to have a couple of Intenso SSDs, and one actually crashed on me and went bad. So yeah, kind of lost the trust on the Intensos. And yeah, this is actually a really nice one. It's 840. Don't know where I actually got it from, but it's a Samsung, and Samsung is good. So let's put it in. Now it just shows Samsung instead of all that labeling and stuff. That's great. Now there's some of you who might say, oh, it can't use the full potential, this old SATA interface. Well guys, I put a SSD inside a PowerBook G4, and that runs on IDE, so come at me, haters. I also want to say is, Apple's engineering is not always shit and annoying. They actually are pretty smart sometimes, because these rubber surroundings are to prevent the hard drive from having unnecessary vibrating, so the whole computer doesn't vibrate all that much, and you don't really see that on any other computer, and that is quite nice. Now of course with the SSD it's useless, but anyway, quite nice thinking. Okay, in a perfect world, this thing should just boot up without a power cord, because it has a battery. It should have 4 gigabytes of RAM. It should be a whole lot faster with the SSD. Do we live in a perfect world? Well, let's see. I guess it likes the RAM since it made a bong. Although I figured out that it really doesn't mean a whole lot with the RAM situation. If it bongs, sometimes it would just bong and then kernel panic, and you know. So, you're gonna boot. You're gonna do something. Hello? Okay, we get an Apple logo. Maybe it needed some time to recognize, oh god, I have an SSD now. Kind of weird though. Little long white screen. And we have a boot thing. This old circle. Let me miss those days. Oh, that was faster already. Okay, let me log in. So, there's super duper again. We don't need that. Oh, wow. 4 gigs of RAM. 2.2 gigahertz Core Duo. Still takes a little time to bring that up. Okay. Yeah, nothing changed here. Why should it? Oh, it's indexing again. Let me just open up Firefox. Oh my god! Wow! Oh wow, that really showed a little the power of the SSD. That was way quicker. I mean, this would just take a couple of bounces and then the Firefox would appear in the menu bar, and then the window would come up sometime. Dropbox again. Okay. Well, that is probably because I cloned, and there's sort of a security thing that it prevents it from syncing to a cloned or not properly signed in account. Let me fix that later. YouTube launch, that's good. Let me just launch some more. I mean, I still need to install a lot of applications I actually need. As you can see, this is quite a bare bones install. Just Firefox, Opera, and Sublime Text. That's really all I installed. Oh god. But wow, did you see that Opera? Oh my god. That just was way faster. And closing, oh my god. And boom, close and close. Oh my god. I just keep wondering. I mean, this thing, you saw it. I mean, I didn't show you explicit, like exclusive. How do you say that? Not explicit or exclusive. How do you say it? I mean, I didn't show you exactly, but I remember that the system preferences took forever to launch. Now let's see how long it takes. Boom! Oh my god, I just got so much more value for my money. Oh god. I was a little worried because this thing is definitely not young, and that it, would still be a little slow, but that is gone just from using these couple of seconds. I mean, I can do this, and this thing just handles it. Oh my god. I mean, it's really crazy what an SSD can do to a computer. Yes, I upgraded the RAM to 4 gigs. That's also a big help. It's literally the double of RAM it had before. And it should be plenty for Mavericks. It's using, it's using already 4 gigs? What is using so much RAM? Oh, fucking Firefox uses half a gig of RAM. Let me get that out of the way. That is just ridiculous. I mean, the new Firefox is great and everything, but it has a lot of flaws. For example, it likes to eat through battery, and as you just saw, it needs a ton of RAM. So yeah, guys, I'm actually happy. Let me calculate it up. I have $90 for the laptop, another 90 for the fucking power supply, so I have 180. And I have the SSD for free since I got it from a different computer, and the RAM and the battery. I got about 250 euros, a pretty good laptop. If you factor away the power supply, it's getting way cheaper, of course. So you can see, actually, with a little work and a little hardware you have laying around, you can actually get back in the game when you get let down by one of these. So yeah, this is the MacBook Pro. I'm pretty happy with it. I'm really curious how it handles sea lions. Instead, again, it's a little harder program, but it's really not that bad. So yeah, MacBook Pro upgrade successful, even though I didn't even want. So see you in the next video, and hope you liked it. If you look at this close, this really looks like the inside of a Mac, like, blah.